sin, and this shaded area is actually blue on the map I'm submitting. And then this resolution, the big piece of it is the resolution. And once I have all that submitted, we get approved with them, and then we're in the Main Street program. At which point, I'll be going to classes this May. So you will be going to classes to learn what we're supposed to do.
And what we can get.
That's right.
Okay, so I make a motion that, well, the motion's from committee to approve this.
Is there a second?
Okay,
We
committee,
don't need one from committee, sorry. Any other discussion or questions?
that's good.
Let's call the roll.
Bishop,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beasley,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Riddle,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, moving on to item D, discussion, consideration, and motion from council to approve spending limit authority to department leaders.
Yes, we'd like to, extend that from 1,000 to 5,000 per department.
Any discussion?
Well, it needs to be a caveat that if they, get close to that limit, that they contact somebody on one of the finance committee people, just so that we know what's
This
going
per
on.
expense or per item or per purchase or
Per purchase.
per purchase?
I mean, we had to get some computers, and it's something we would have done anyway, but, it just speeds the process up. This is something we would normally spend money on anyway, and it just kind of bypasses the committee. If you need something right now, if it's $1,500, you gotta have a committee meeting, then come back to council and everything. We micromanage it too much of this.
And things get more expensive too. Anyway,
May I? Madam Mayor?
Please.
So we have two ordinance sections that cap us at $1,000. For purchase and acquisitions, the Public Works Director is not authorized to spend more than $1,000 without council approval, and the town manager likewise is not authorized to spend more than $1,000 without council approval. So the answer to the dilemma, I think, begins in the ordinance committee probably, and they discuss among how much and who. The question, because you've got gatekeepers now, your Public Works Director can approve, your town manager can approve, but not everybody can spend whatever they wish, because I think the dilemma is, if the cap goes to 5,000 hypothetically, then you have 4 different department heads who could spend $5,000, you've got a $20,000 obligation before you know it. But the caps now are set by ordinance, I think the ordinance would have to be amended for sure.
so I make a motion to refer this back to the ordinance committee.
Second.
I'll say that.
And I think in ordinance, I would ask that they just simply look at how much and who's gonna be the authorization point. If it's gonna be a single person like the treasurer or the town manager, or is the Public Works Director and others gonna have some authority, and maybe it's segmented, lower numbers for some, higher numbers for others, but if
Well,
it's
and-
off budget, that's what we're talking about, if it's
Right.
off budget.
And I'd like to look at it a slightly different way. Yes, we're giving them authority and responsibility, but I also don't wanna leave them out there on their own. I want them to know that, the council can support them, and so I don't want them to think they can't call, and say, am I crazy for doing this, or, am I gonna get in trouble? That's just gonna go back on me, cause we're still talking about accountability for all of us.
That's what I'm saying,
Right.
you need to come to somebody on finance.
Right.
Maybe two-way, just to see that.
Well, and like Tim said, be careful if everybody on a Friday went and bought $5,000 worth of NAS, and all of a sudden we had $20,000 bill, so, we don't want that to be just free reign.
But to give you all assurance and comfort, if there's a genuine emergency,
Right, yeah.
of course, there's code and statute that allows for emergency spending that's later approved retroactively.
Okay,
So, but that's truly when you have an emergency expenditure.
right. All right, well, we'll refer this to the ordinance committee. We have a motion. Did we get a second?
Yeah, I think Bob made the second.
Okay, Thompson seconded. Madam Clerk, if you'll call her.
Okay, this is gonna be referred back to the ordinance and charter committee. Motion by Page, second by Thompson. Bishop,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that's
Coming back to you. Beasley.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.